Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. It's that time again when we're all thinking about new goals and new starts for the year ahead.
Yeah, definitely time for fresh starts.
And for a lot of us, that means thinking about investments too, right? But what about investing in ourselves? Not just, the usual resolutions, but really leveling up our skills and abilities.
Hmm, that's an interesting way to think about it.
So, what if I told you that one of the most powerful ways to boost your brain power, enhance your learning, and even improve your health is through music?
Oh, wow. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into some fascinating academic research that explores the unexpected ways music can actually rewire your brain.
Rewire our brains. Okay, you've got my attention. What kind of research are we talking about here?
We've got a paper outlining a whole bunch of studies on the effects of music. And our mission today is to uncover some unexpected ways that music might boost your abilities, whether you're a musician or just starting to explore.
Sounds fascinating. Let's dive in.
All right, so the research dives into this concept of neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity?
Yeah, basically how our brains physically change based on what we do.
Right, right.
And it turns out that music, especially long-term engagement with music, leads to measurable differences in brain structure and function.
Really? So, our brains actually change shape because of music?
Exactly. Pretty amazing, right? One study found that string players actually have larger areas of the brain dedicated to finger sensation.
Wow, so all those years of practice actually reshaped their brains.
It seems that way. And different instruments seem to lead to different adaptations. The research also found that drummers, for instance, excel at processing complex rhythms and timing.
Ah, that makes sense. I guess their brains have to adapt to handle all those intricate rhythms.
And here's another interesting tidbit. The way we learn music also seems to affect brain activity.
Oh, really? So how we learn makes a difference too.
Yeah, the study found that traditional music instruction versus improvisation actually activate different neural networks.
Hmm. So maybe actively creating music, not just passively listening, has a bigger impact.
It seems that way. And this leads us to another fascinating connection. Music and language. Turns out they're not so different in the brain's eyes.
Music and language. I wouldn't have thought they were so connected.
Well, they actually share a lot of the same processing systems in the brain.
Yeah,
And get this training, one benefits the other. It's like a symphony of skills.
that's a cool way to put it. So if you improve your musical skills, your language skills might improve too.
Exactly. There's this really interesting study with 8-year-olds that found just 8 weeks of music training significantly improved their linguistic pitch perception.
Linguistic pitch perception. What is that exactly?
It's the ability to understand tone and emotion in speech, like being able to tell if someone's happy or sad just by the way they're talking.
Oh, I see. So music is helping them understand the nuances of language better.
And that early processing boost can have a big impact on language development and ultimately literacy.
Makes sense. It's all connected.
And speaking of literacy, it turns out that music instruction has been shown to improve reading comprehension, especially for those who struggle with reading.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
So music can actually help people become better readers.
That's what the research suggests. Rhythmic training, like clapping and chanting, seems to be particularly helpful.
Interesting. It's like music is sharpening the same skills needed to process information from both written and spoken language.
Now, we've all heard about this supposed link between music and math, but it's not as simple as saying music makes you good at math.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. What's the real connection then?
Well, it seems it's not a general link, but more about specific skills. And the real star player here is rhythm again.
Rhythm keeps coming up. So it's not just playing any instrument, it's about actually engaging with rhythm.
Exactly. Studies show that rhythmic training, not just playing any instrument, correlates with better performance on those part-whole math problems. You know, the ones where you have to break down complex concepts into smaller units and understand their relationships?
Oh, right, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Both rhythm and math involve those skills of breaking things down and seeing the relationships.
And get ready for this. Research shows music training can actually boost your overall brain power, especially in this area called spatial temporal reasoning.
Spatial temporal reasoning. I'm not familiar with that term.
It's your ability to mentally rotate objects. Think about space and time stuff. That's really important for STEM fields engineering, even just navigating the world.
Oh, wow. So music is training our brains for more than just music.
One researcher even compared the IQ boost for music to the cognitive advantage of being an inch taller.
That's a really interesting way to put it. So even a small boost can make a difference.
And while language and literacy skills play a role, the research suggests that rhythm is likely driving these spatial temporal gains too.
It's amazing how much rhythm seems to be the heart of it all.
But it's important to remember correlation doesn't equal causation. Just because music engaged students tend to do well academically doesn't automatically mean music is the only reason.
Right? There could be other factors at play,
Yeah.
like a supportive home environment or natural talent.
Exactly. But even so, the fact that music engaged students consistently show higher overall academic achievement is pretty compelling.
It definitely suggests that there's something powerful happening there. And it may not just be the cognitive benefits we've discussed. Music also boosts self-esteem, confidence, and that overall motivation to learn.
So it's not just about smarts, it's about shaping your character and mindset for success.
Exactly. And you know what else is really interesting to me? The research on creativity music, especially when it involves improvisation and composition, seems to unlock this outside-the-box thinking.
Absolutely. There's a study with 6-year-olds where those who did improvisation activities showed greater creative thinking skills than those who just had traditional music lessons.
It's like music is giving them the freedom to experiment and come up with new ideas.
And that kind of creative problem solving isn't just valuable for artistic stuff, it's important in any field.
So true. Whether it's science, technology, or business, being able to see things from different perspectives and make connections is crucial.
It's amazing to think that something as enjoyable as music can have such a profound impact on our brains, our learning, and even our creativity.
It really is. And you know what? We've only just scratched the surface. There's a whole other world of research on the personal and social benefits of music, too.
Well, lucky for our listeners, we've got plenty of time to explore it all. So stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive into the power of music.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the power of music. We were just exploring all those incredible cognitive benefits.
So many brain-boosting perks. But music's impact goes way beyond just, making us smarter. It can help us grow as individuals, too.
Absolutely. And that's really relevant, as we're all thinking about New Year's resolutions and setting goals for ourselves.
New year, new me, right? So what kind of personal development benefits are we talking about here?
Well, for one, think about the discipline and persistence it takes to learn an instrument.
Oh, yeah, all those hours of practice.
Exactly. All those challenges you overcome, they really build character.
And a stick-with-it attitude that can apply to so many other areas of life.
And it's not just about individual effort. Music, especially when played in groups, really fosters teamwork and cooperation.
It's true. Think about an orchestra or a band. Everyone has to be in sync working towards that shared goal.
It's a powerful experience, and it teaches those valuable lessons about communication, compromise, and collaboration.
Skills that are essential in pretty much every aspect of life.
And the research also highlights the impact of music on self-esteem and confidence.
Yeah, performing in front of others, mastering a difficult piece.
Yeah.
It takes guts.
And it builds that sense of self-belief. That can really ripple outward,
Yeah.
impacting how we approach other challenges in life.
Like music is giving us this platform to shine and discover our talents.
Exactly. And that's especially important for teenagers who are, trying to figure out who they are and where they fit in.
It can give them that sense of belonging, a community of people who share their passion.
A safe space to experiment, express themselves, and find their tribe.
We've talked a lot about how music impacts our minds. But what about our bodies?
Well, the research on music and health is super fascinating. It's not just good for the soul, it's good for the body, too.
Okay, I'm all ears. What has they found?
We know that music and movement programs are really beneficial for kids.
Oh yeah, kids just naturally respond to music. It's like this innate drive to move and groove.
And while most of the research on music and health has been done on adults, there's growing evidence that singing has a whole host of benefits.
Singing? Really? Tell me more.
Well, for one, studies have linked singing to reduce stress and improved mood.
Makes sense. There's something about belting out your favorite tune that just melts away stress.
But it goes beyond just mood boosting. Some research even suggests that singing can actually boost immune function.
Wait, singing can help fight off colds and flu. How does that work?
It's not a magic bullet, of course,
Uh-huh.
but the research suggests that it can increase the production of certain antibodies.
Wow, that's incredible. And it makes sense when you think about all that deep breathing involved in singing.
It's like a workout for your lungs. And speaking of workouts, some research suggests that playing the piano can be as beneficial for your heart as a brisk walk.
Wow. I always thought of playing music as a mental workout, but it sounds like it can be a physical one too.
And here's another fascinating finding. Even just attending cultural events like concerts has been linked to lower mortality rates.
Seriously, soaking up live music could actually help us live longer.
It's a good reminder that engaging with the arts, whether as a participant or an audience member, has a really profound impact on our well-being.
It sounds like music is this treasure trove of benefits just waiting for us to uncover.
It truly is.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious what stands out to you the most? What's resonating with you?
I think for me, it's just realizing how much we underestimate music. Like, it's not just background noise or entertainment. It can actually change our brains, our bodies, even our lives in such profound ways.
I totally agree. And the coolest part is we have the power to choose how we want to engage with it, and how we want to harness its potential.
Thinking about all these benefits, I'm really intrigued by that link between music and creativity. I've always wanted to try songwriting, but never really had the guts to go for it. Maybe this is the year I finally dust off that old guitar.
That's awesome. And remember, it doesn't have to be about becoming the next, big star. It's about the joy of creating, expressing yourself through music.
Yeah. And even if I don't become the next Taylor Swift, just the act of making music, playing around with those rhythms and melodies that could have positive effects on other parts of my life too.
Exactly. That's the big takeaway here. Music is more than just entertainment. It's a tool for growth, for enhancing our abilities, for shaping our character, and just enriching our lives in so many ways.
So as we're all thinking about new beginnings and setting those intentions for the new year, I have a question for our listeners. Knowing all this, what's one small change you could make in your relationship with music this year to actually experience some of these benefits?
Maybe it's finally taking those piano lessons you've always talked about, or joining a choir, or even just listening to music more mindfully, really paying attention to the sounds.
Or just dancing more in your living room? The possibilities are endless.
The key is to approach music with that sense of curiosity and playfulness. Let it move you, inspire you, and help you grow in ways you never imagined.
On that note, I want to wish all of our listeners a very happy new year. May it be filled with joy, growth, and of course, fantastic music.
Cheers to a year filled with music.